Good news for Grand Bahama as a letter of intent has been signed for the sale of the Grand Lucayan Hotel. A video of an Abaco teacher reportedly disciplining students, leaving many in awe. And students in the East planning future careers.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll-Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, plans are now underway to transform Grand Bahama into a world-class destination following the signing of a letter of intent yesterday for the purchase of the Grand Lucayan Resort. This massive joint venture is said to be a key component in the government's efforts to revitalize Grand Bahama's economy. Sabrina Brown reports.
Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, and the ITM Group are moving full speed ahead with discussions to seal the deal for the purchase of the Grand Lucayan Hotel and the redevelopment of the Freeport Harbor. Minister of State for Grand Bahama Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson says nearly $200 million will be invested in the first phase of the project.
The $195 million investment embarked for the first phase of the project over a 24-month period will include the purchase price of $65 million for the hotel property. Approximately 2,000 jobs are expected to be created in the first phase. Discussions leading to the heads of agreement, subject to the approval of the National Economic Council, will begin immediately on matters relating to Bahamian employment requirements and Bahamian participation in specific areas.
Minister Thompson noting that this massive undertaking will open many doors of opportunity for residents.
It is anticipated that Bahamians will have significant ownership participation in restaurants, retail stores, transportation, water parks, and other areas.
Minister of Tourism and Aviation, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, says tourism numbers are up in the country, and this new project is expected to further solidify an already growing product.
In the international marketplace, tourism is an arena of fierce competition. Through strategic, dynamic advertising, marketing, and promotions, the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism and Aviation, along with major hotels and other key stakeholders, have been very successful at elevating awareness and visibility of the Bahamas brand among travel consumers. Over the last 18 months, we have seen a number of top hotel brands come on stream, and now that we're announcing this project in Grand Bahama, this too will add to the wonderful story coming out of the Bahamas.
Royal Caribbean has a history of more than 50 years calling on ports in the Bahamas. Vice President of Government Relations Russell Benford says they are elated to have been chosen over 10 other offers.
The board undertook an extensive search, a global search, to really find the right partner here in Grand Bahama, and we are honored really to be chosen from some really great people around the world to do this project. You know, it's not only a hotel, it's not only a port project, a redevelopment. I think you referred to it as a revitalization, a rebirth. We understand what Grand Lucayan meant to the government of the Bahamas and the people of the Bahamas and the folks here in Grand Bahama, excuse me. And it's an honor to be chosen. I mean, we understand how important this is to you.
The ITM Group is known as master planners, cruise port developers, and hotel operators. CEO Mauricio Hamoy outlined 5 areas of focus for the Grand Bahama project.
First point is more than 2 million passengers coming in the Freeport. The second point is with the combination of the Freeport Harbor and the Lucayan property, the destination we're thinking to make in 3 or 4 years one of the best destinations in the Caribbean. The third point is the creation of more than 2,500 jobs for the Bahamians. The fourth point is a research of the economy to give back to the Freeport a lot of the economy back. And the fifth point is the creation of the community center for the Bahamian people.
The Grand Lucayan is expected to be transformed into a world-class property with a water park and 5-star accommodations. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
In other news, the business community on Grand Bahama getting an update on the Coral Vita project. Ground was broken in East Grand Bahama in November of last year for the company that will focus on creating a global network of coral farms capable of sustaining reefs for future generations. Now, the project is in partnership with the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Italia Hall has more.
The Coral Vita project is worth some $1.5 million. Coral Vita will be the first commercial land-based farm to restore dying reefs. Founder Gator Halpern says baby coral will be grown in tanks, and through the process of microfragmentation, the coral will grow 50 times faster than it grows in its natural environment.
We could do a few very interesting things while they're in our tanks. The first is that we can actually boost the resiliency of these corals to the main threats that are killing them, ocean acidification and global warming ocean temperatures. We can train our corals in our tanks to be more resilient and be able to survive the warmer conditions out there, so that once we plant them out there, they don't just reach the same fate as many of the corals and perish in a warm summer.
Co-founder Sam Teicher says Coral Vita will be a new ecotourism attraction on the island, an education center for Bahamians, and will also offer a number of job opportunities.
Whether it's fishermen being retrained or any local that has a passion for marine science, there's going to be opportunities for planting corals. We've already been talking with the University of the Bahamas about ways that we can collaborate with their marine science students. And ideally, we'd love for people with those qualifications in marine biology to be able to work as technicians on our coral farm, as well as people on the sort of tourism side of things who can help run our guests through the programming, as well as the sort of educational activities that are going on.
He adds that the project is gaining attention on an international scale as well.
We've had high-profile magazines such as Fast Company featuring our work. We've got investors from some very creative and active sort of Silicon Valley communities looking at this project. I myself just returned from the Middle East and Saudi Arabia and Egypt, where, again, a lot of these people maybe had never heard of the Bahamas before, but now are excited to be following this project. And so we regularly have, the accolades are great, but more, we have really committed scientists and communities, as well as a growing number of reporters and businesses, whether it's cruise lines and airline industries to tourism operators wanting to learn more about this project in Grand Bahama and how they can get involved in some fashion.
Founders say the project is expected to be completed at the end of May, and once successful in Grand Bahama, their vision is to expand Coral Vita across the world. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Switching gears now, a video making the rounds on social media, and it reportedly involves an Abaco teacher disciplining several students on camera. While some residents are outraged, others contend that corporal punishment is needed for this generation. It is too disturbing for many to watch. The video reportedly shows an Abaco teacher disciplining her students, and even though it is unclear why, based on reports, this group from Abaco traveled to Nassau for a field trip. The first to be beaten explaining that he did nothing wrong, and the teacher replied, "You were in the room, right?" Hands on the wall. The first hit leaving the young boy holding his stomach, and despite telling the teacher he was sleeping, she responded, "You were a part of it too, because you allowed it."
So let me show you. Listen to me.
The second boy to be beaten was also instructed to place his hands on the wall.
Hands on the wall. Don't look at me. Why don't you treat him? Look at the wall. Shush. That's not my plan.
And so was the third.
You think that's a game? I have no time to play with you.
And the fourth.
I don't care. Who has to do with it?
As well as the fifth. Other students began to laugh, and they were asked. And then came the sixth student. The video then came to an abrupt end. We asked residents on Grand Bahama their opinion about the level of discipline administered.
But that kind of action should never happen. And to people's children, you don't know if these people handle their own children in that way.
From my opinion, I think that's child abuse. I think that's taken advantage of the situation.
When I was growing up, we got beaten with all kind of stuff, but that was from our parents. This is from a teacher, and quite frankly, if the teacher wasn't concerned about these kids, he would have just let it go.
It's corporal punishment. And boys today need corporal punishment. We need to bring corporal punishment back in the schools.
He might do something wrong against the school or whatever the case is. It's other ways that we can punish people. And this is not one of them like that.
I feel it was right. I feel it wasn't a child, her children, to beat, so, and the way you beat them, it's inhumane. You don't beat kids like that.
Well, their body's fine.
But there are those who believe that the method of discipline should have never been recorded. We reached out to the Ministry of Education Superintendent in Abaco, Dominic Russell, who said the teacher remains in the classroom and the matter is currently under investigation. Residents on Grand Bahama also have mixed reaction to this decision.
That kind of response does not happen on jobs where people do wrong. And when a teacher abuses a child in such a fashion, they should never be allowed to stay on the job. They have to be removed because they may do it to some other child while you are investigating.
The teacher needs to stay and do his job. Her job. She needs to stay and do her job. The job that the government is paying her to do, she needs to be able to do her job. That's good punishment. That's corporal punishment.
I think they should perhaps take her out and whatnot and counsel her too, you know what I'm saying? And the ministry needs to do their job.
Now, we have been advised that as per the Ministry of Education's policy, teachers are not allowed to administer corporal punishment, only administrators or someone designated by the principal. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.